I work 2 jobs to help my wife through nursing school. I miss birthdays, anniversaries, even my own father's funeral. The day she got her license, she left me a note. I married you to survive. Now I don't need you. Our joint account was empty. Her brother helped her move while I was at work. But she forgot one thing in the drawer, and with it, I started. I'm 38. I live in Tacoma, Washington, and I've worked my ass off since I was old enough to hold a wrench. I do metalwork at a machine shop during the day, and until recently, I poured drinks at a bar off 6th Avenue 4 nights a week. That's how I paid bills. That's how I paid for her dreams. Her name's Cassandra. We met when I was 31, and she was 23. A friend from work invited me to a backyard barbecue. She was sitting on a plastic chair near the fire pit, drinking some cheap sangria out of a red cup, talking to nobody. I asked her if she was alright, and she looked up and smiled like I'd saved her from something. She told me she'd moved up from Sacramento. Said her ex had been a mess, and she wanted a clean start. She wanted to go back to school. Said she wanted to be a nurse because she liked helping people. That hit something in me. I'd always been the guy people lean on. Never been the one someone wanted to help. She told me I seemed solid. Said I made her feel safe. No woman had said that to me before. We started dating. It was easy at first. I didn't have much money, but she never asked for fancy stuff. I took her to diners, hiking trails, drive-in movies. She said that was enough. After 9 months, we moved in together. After a year, we were married. Just the courthouse. Her brother came up from Oregon, signed as witness. She didn't want a big wedding. Said it was a waste of money. She got accepted into a nursing program at Tacoma Community College the following year. She worked part-time at a small retail store, but the hours were all over the place. Between her classes, tests, and shifts, she said she couldn't handle it anymore. I told her to quit. I told her I'd take care of it. And I did. I picked up all the slack. I worked 6 days a week at the shop and 4 nights a week at the bar. I went from tired to exhausted to something past that. I was always tired. But I told myself, this is what love is. This is what commitment looks like. I miss birthdays. I missed our anniversary 2 years in a row. I missed my dad's funeral. That one still sits heavy. He died from lung cancer, and Cassandra said we couldn't afford for me to take a week off to fly to Arizona. She said my dad would understand. I should have known right then. But I didn't. I thought she just wanted us to be secure. I thought we were building something. Every month, I paid her tuition from our joint account. When she started clinical rotations, I sold my motorcycle to buy her a used car, a beat-up Corolla, but reliable. She cried when I gave her the keys. Told me I was the best thing that ever happened to her. That was last fall. She passed her nursing board exam this past July. The day she found out she passed, I bought a small cake and wrote, "You did it," in frosting myself because I couldn't afford to have one made. She barely looked at it. Said she was tired, and went to bed early. No celebration. No kiss. Just, "Thanks, Ray," and lights out. I chalked it up to stress. The next day, I came home to an empty house. Her clothes were gone. Her makeup. Her toothbrush. Her laptop. The Corolla. Everything. On the kitchen table was a note. Handwritten on printer paper, in her favorite purple pen. I married you to survive. Now I don't need you. Please don't try to find me. I've moved on. That's all she left me. That, and an empty bank account. She cleared everything out of our joint checking. I'm talking to the penny empty. Even took the $20 emergency cash I had stashed in the back of the freezer behind the frozen meat. Turns out, her brother helped her move while I was working a double. Neighbors said they saw him carrying boxes out the front door. That asshole didn't even look me in the eye when he signed our marriage papers. I sat on the couch for 3 hours. Didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just went still. Then, around midnight, I got up to take one last look around. I opened the nightstand drawer on her side of the bed. I don't know why. Maybe habit. And there it was. A leather notebook. Black, smooth cover. She used to carry it during school. She said it helped her keep everything organized. Inside were random notes, test prep, to-do lists, old receipts. Then I saw it. A folded piece of paper, shoved between pages. A printed email. From her Gmail account. Sent to someone named Bradley W. Subject line: Freedom is almost here, 3 more weeks and I'll be done. I'll leave the note like we planned. He works too much to notice anything anyway. I'll drain the account the day after the license clears. Can't wait to start our real life together. Thank you for reminding me what love actually feels like. Under that, a picture. A selfie. Cassandra, wrapped in a towel, holding a glass of wine. Smiling in a room I didn't recognize. I zoomed in. You could see Bradley in the mirror behind her, shirtless, brushing his teeth. I didn't cry. I just sat there with the paper in my hand, and the next thought that came wasn't about pain. It wasn't even about her. It was about revenge. I started by watching. I looked Bradley up. He had a basic online footprint, LinkedIn, Instagram, one of those startup guys. Worked in Seattle. Something to do with health tech. His bio said he believed in disruption and empathy. Those were the words he used while helping my wife stab me in the back. I created a fake LinkedIn profile, Raymond Keller, healthcare recruiting specialist. I uploaded a clean headshot, borrowed from a buddy who works in sales. I filled out the page with buzzwords and fake references. Then I added Cassandra's nursing school contacts, Bradley's coworkers, and a few random nurses from Seattle area hospitals. Slowly, I built a network. 2 weeks later, I saw Cassandra had started a new job. She posted it on Facebook. RN at Madison West Medical. She even used the heart emoji. She was proud. Too proud to realize I was watching. Then I made myself useful. I applied to volunteer at the hospital. Said I wanted experience in healthcare before starting a certificate program. They didn't ask many questions. I passed the background check easy. I never even had a speeding ticket. They placed me in the gift shop and sometimes at the front desk. I wore khakis and a smile. Nobody looked twice at the tired old guy with a clipboard. Cassandra never saw me. But I saw her. I watched her come and go in her scrubs. Laughing with other nurses. Texting while walking. Bradley showed up a couple of times. I recognized him from the selfie. They'd meet in the cafeteria and whisper to each other. I saw her touch his arm. That night, I created a new Gmail. No name. Just a burner account. I used it to send the first anonymous complaint. The first complaint was short. I said I was a concerned observer. Claimed Cassandra had been seen kissing a man in hospital scrubs in the cafeteria during her shift. Said it seemed inappropriate and possibly against policy. I didn't even mention Bradley's name. 2 days later, I watched from behind the volunteer counter as she got pulled into an HR office. She came out 20 minutes later, red in the face, not talking to anyone. That was a good day. But I wasn't done. I waited a week, then filed another complaint. This time I said I overheard her talking loudly on the phone in the hallway about patient details. Gave the date and time. HIPAA violations are a big deal. The hospital had to investigate. She looked more stressed every day after that. I kept it slow. Just enough to keep pressure on her. Just enough to make her question everything. Then I made it personal. One night, I left the hospital and followed her home. She lived in a new apartment building near Capitol Hill. I parked down the street and watched her go inside. Bradley's car was already there. I waited. About an hour later, the lights went off. I wasn't sure what I was doing until I was doing it. I wrote a short note on a piece of cardboard and slipped it under their door. He deserves better. The world will know what kind of woman you really are. No name. No return address. Just that. 3 days later, Cassandra deleted all her social media. Every single account. Gone. I thought I had control of the situation. I thought I was calling the shots. But then something unexpected happened. I came home from my shift at the shop one Thursday and found a manila envelope taped to my front door. No name, no stamp. Just a single word on the front in thick black marker. Stop. Inside was a copy of a restraining order application. Filed by Cassandra. She said she believed I was stalking her. Said someone was harassing her at work and she suspected it was me. The order hadn't been granted yet, but she'd filed it. She listed dates, times, and mentioned my volunteer work. Said I was trying to sabotage her life out of jealousy. I froze. She was trying to turn this around. Paint herself as the victim. The same woman who drained my account, disappeared, and moved in with her boyfriend was now claiming I was the danger. She even listed mental instability as a concern, citing the fact that I worked excessive hours and had missed my own father's funeral. The rage I felt reading that, it wasn't even hot. It was cold. Like steel. She was rewriting the story. She was building a legal wall between us. She wanted to erase what she did, flip it, and bury me under it. And I couldn't let that happen. I needed insurance. I needed proof. I needed her to fall, not just stumble. That's when I remembered something. When we were married, Cassandra used to back up her phone to our shared cloud drive. She stopped doing it after the breakup, changed all her passwords. But old backups? They never disappeared. Not unless you knew where to delete them. I logged in using my laptop. The account was locked down, but not cleaned out. And there it was. A folder called Miscellaneous. Inside were photos, texts, even screen recordings. Some were of her schoolwork, but others were personal. There were screenshots of her chats with Bradley. Voice memos she'd saved where she called me a walking paycheck, while laughing. A screen recording of a video call where she literally told him, "I could fake a tear if I needed to. He's too exhausted to notice anything. Just a body dragging a wallet." She said it like it was nothing. That was the final push. I started putting a package together. I printed out the screenshots. Labeled everything. Added timestamps. I wrote a letter. Clear, calm, factual. Described the timeline. Detailed how she used me, how she left, and how she was now accusing me falsely. Then I printed a second copy, this one meant for her new hospital's HR department. I mailed the first copy to the judge reviewing her restraining order application. The second one, I hand-delivered. But not as myself. I gave it to a coworker from the machine shop who owed me a favor. Told him to walk in, say it was from a concerned third party, and leave. No questions. Just hand it to the front desk at Madison West Medical. He did it without hesitation. 2 weeks later, everything started to crack. I got a call from the court. They were reviewing both sides. Said the case was now under dispute, and a hearing would be scheduled. But more importantly, I got word from someone I knew, a nurse who used to work at Madison West, that Cassandra was under a full internal investigation. I didn't even ask. She brought it up herself, not knowing who I really was connected to. "Some new nurse got caught in a lying scandal," she said. "They're reviewing her employment history. Apparently she's been accused of fraud and workplace dishonesty." I nodded and said nothing. That's when I knew the snowball was rolling downhill. But there was still more to uncover. I had proof she lied about why she married me. Now I needed proof she lied about her qualifications too. And what I found next was the piece that would blow it all open. I was done reacting. I wanted to end this on my terms. Cassandra had tried to wreck me quietly, like she thought I'd just disappear into a corner. But I'd made too many sacrifices. Gave her too many years. She didn't just owe me money. She owed me a life back. After the restraining order threat, I stayed away from the hospital. Didn't want to give her anything else she could use in court. But I kept digging, quietly, carefully. One night, I opened up the external hard drive I used to keep old receipts, PDFs, bills, just junk from the past. I was looking for anything with her signature. And that's when I remembered something she once said during school. "I just copied and pasted my clinical log sheets. Nobody reads them." At the time, I laughed. Didn't think much of it. But now I was curious. I still had a backup folder labeled Cassandra Nursing. She used to email me stuff to print when our home printer was broken. Inside the folder were dozens of Word docs, assignments, study guides, and clinical logs. Some of them were repeated. I mean word for word identical. Same patient summaries. Same dates. Just different titles. Then I noticed a few dates didn't even match her schedule. She'd claimed to be in clinicals on weekends. She was actually visiting her mom down in Oregon. I knew this because I had receipts from those days. Gas stations, fast food, even texts from her saying, "I'm so glad I got to see my mom today." So how was she logging 8 hours at a hospital in Tacoma when she was 180 miles away? I kept looking. And then I found a document titled Final Clinical Verification. She had typed her preceptor's name on the signature line. It wasn't signed. I called the hospital where she claimed to have done her final semester of clinicals. I used my fake recruiter persona again. Said I was doing background checks for a hiring facility. Asked to confirm that a nurse named Cassandra Avery had completed clinical rotations under a nurse Paula K. in spring 2023. The woman on the phone paused, then said, "I'm sorry, but Paula retired in 2022. She wasn't here that semester." That was it. Right there. Cassandra had lied on her final paperwork. She had used a fake preceptor name and falsified hours. If the state board knew, they'd revoke her license in a heartbeat. I printed the email confirmation. Took screenshots. Saved phone records. I didn't just have emotional betrayal now. I had legal ammunition. But I still needed one last thing to lock it in. I drove down to the Oregon coast the next weekend. Found her brother's place, the one who helped her move out behind my back. I didn't knock. I waited across the street until he came out to smoke. He looked confused when he saw me, started to walk back inside. I yelled, "I'm not here to fight. Just want to talk." He stayed by the porch, arms crossed. I said, "You helped her rob me blind. You packed up that car like I was trash. And I let it slide. But if I go down for this restraining order, I'll make sure you go with her." He told me he didn't know she was leaving that way. That she just asked for help moving out, said the marriage was over. That she was scared of me. I laughed in his face. She wasn't scared when she was spending my paychecks and faking her nursing records. He didn't say anything. Then I said something I hadn't planned. "If you help me now, I won't involve you when this goes public." His eyes narrowed. "Help you how?" I told him what I needed, any messages she'd sent him during the move. Especially anything showing that she'd planned it in advance, or anything saying I wasn't dangerous, just in the way. He looked nervous. Said he'd think about it. I gave him a burner email. A week later, I got a reply. Attached were screenshots from Cassandra's messages. One said, "Don't worry, he won't do anything. He's too damn tired to even argue. He's just gonna come home, find the note, and sit in it like always." Another said, "I've already started moving things to Bradley's. Ray will be fine. He's used to being alone anyway." That was all I needed. She wasn't scared. She was calculated. The package I was building was almost complete. I now had proof of a premeditated plan to abandon me and drain our joint assets, falsified clinical documents, and a fake preceptor screenshots of her and Bradley mocking me, laughing about the scam. A witness, her own brother, who had messages showing she lied about being afraid of me. Now it was about timing. I waited until the court date for the restraining order hearing was set. Then, I mailed a thick envelope to the State Nursing Board's investigative division. 2 days later, I dropped off a second envelope, hand-delivered, to the HR department of Madison West Medical, with a note on top. "The enclosed contains documentation that affects your employee's qualifications and fitness to work in patient care. Please review carefully. Concerned party." The court hearing was still 3 weeks out. And I had no idea what was about to come next. But I was ready. 3 weeks passed. I didn't hear a word from Cassandra. No calls. No texts. No emails. Then, 5 days before the court hearing, I got a letter from Madison West Medical. It wasn't official looking. Just a white envelope with my name on it, handwritten. No return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. "I hope you're happy. I lost my job. I lost everything. You don't have to come to court. I'm dropping the order. I'm done." No apology. No explanation. Just blame. That same day, a friend who still worked part-time at the hospital texted me. "Bro, your ex just got walked out by security. People are talking. Someone said she might have lied on her license app." It was happening. I still went to the hearing. I wanted to see her face. I wanted to watch her try to explain herself in front of a judge. But she didn't show. Her lawyer stood up and said Cassandra was withdrawing her request for the restraining order. The judge accepted it, noted the record, and dismissed the case. And just like that, it was over. Legally, she had nothing left to hold over me. But my revenge wasn't over yet. A week after the hearing, I got a call from the Washington State Nursing Commission. A formal voice on the other end said, "We've received documentation concerning Ms. Cassandra Avery's license application. We are opening an investigation. If you are willing to be interviewed, we'd appreciate your cooperation." I agreed. They asked about the timeline. When she did her clinicals, where she was staying, who she said her preceptor was. I told the truth. They took copies of everything I had, emails, screenshots, the statement from her brother. Then the investigator asked, "Did she ever mention anything about not completing hours, or faking forms?" I said, "She told me once that nobody reads them, and she just copy-paste the logs." He said, "That lines up with what we're seeing." 2 months passed. Then 3. Then one morning, I got another letter. This time it was official. It came from the Washington Nursing Commission. Inside was a 2-page report. They had completed their investigation. Cassandra's license was revoked. Effective immediately. She was banned from reapplying for a minimum of 10 years due to falsified documentation, unverified clinical hours, and deception during the application process. I read that line 5 times. 10 years. Gone. I found out from a friend that she tried applying to a clinic in eastern Washington after being fired. Got turned down after a background check flagged the investigation. She tried again at an out-of-state hospital. Same thing. Her nursing dream? Dead. The thing she used me to chase? Gone. And Bradley? He left her. Apparently he broke it off 2 weeks after she lost her job. Packed his things and moved to Portland. She posted one last sad message on a new Facebook account. When people say they'll love you through anything, they don't mean it. Don't trust anyone. Especially not the quiet ones. I printed it out and pinned it to my fridge. So where am I now? I still work the machine shop. Quit bartending though. Sleep better these days. I bought a used motorcycle with the money I saved by not paying her tuition anymore. Sometimes people ask if I'd do it all again. I wouldn't. But I'm not bitter. She thought I was some exhausted fool who'd work himself into the ground while she played house with someone else. She thought she could use me like a step stool and walk away clean. Instead, she walked into a wall. I didn't ruin her life. I just uncovered the truth. The rest? She did that to herself. As for me? I'm finally at peace. And I'll never let someone like her in my world again.